preventing Kolt from gaining eyes on the target. Kolt knew the SEALs would be roughly 30 seconds in front of the 47s, cutting a deliberate path through the ship's rough wake. The Boat Assault Force, or BAF, cross-loaded on 4 low-profile gunmetal gray Mark V Special Operations crafts, was perfectly positioned, steering for the target ship's fantail with nobody on board the wiser. He turned to look at the SEAL seated behind him, leaning backward, hiding from the headwind as much as possible. The SEAL was tucked in nice and tight, taking advantage of the few inches he was able to gain inside the open cabin, allowing Kolt to block every bit of headwind. The SEAL's kit was definitely custom, perfectly waterproof and buoyant. Son of a bitch. Kolt turned back around, moving his eyes past the fast rope hooked to the overhead, the rest coiled and lying in the cabin just a foot away, then back forward past the pilots in the bubble glass cockpit, before leaning slightly aft to look through the open cabin and focusing on his Troop Sergeant Major Slapshot. Ice-cold seawater whipped up by the pounding 47 blades mixed with a sea squall rain seeped into his lower neck area, running down between his pecs and settling in his belly button. Kolt wondered if Slapshot was having the same problem. Slapshot, like Kolt, had been given the shit spot too, just on the other side of the little bird. A second recruiting poster-perfect dressed SEAL, along with a very unfriendly-looking Belgian Malinois, were hooked in behind Slapshot. Kolt made eye contact with the alert canine, Roscoe, a fully kitted-out bomb dog. Roscoe's black, marble-like eyes reflected the waning quarter moon like a pocket mirror. Kolt shivered and looked away. Kolt reached up with his gloved, non-firing hand to adjust his inflatable horse collar. The tactical life preserver was must-have kit when flying a bird's-eye view of the ocean, but it had already rubbed his neck raw. Embedded with hydrostatic inflator technology, the vest would automatically inflate within seconds when submerged in 4 or more inches of water. In an overwater emergency, with HIT, keeping your head above water was a certainty, but breathing was something altogether different. Giving up on finding much comfort with the life vest, Kolt checked the positioning of his helicopter emergency egress device, a compact and lightweight mini scuba bottle. The Heed 3 was snap-linked into his assault vest's non-firing shoulder strap. Kolt gripped it lightly, slightly repositioning the mouthpiece toward his own mouth. Taking a quick glance down at the waves, he mentally rehearsed saving his own life. Unlike the horse collar, the Heed bottle had no auto-activate technology inside. The only way it would work was if you were conscious and had your shit together. The bird rose and dipped before settling back into level flight. Kolt's stomach caught up a few seconds later. He knew the pilot gripping the collective inside the bubble cockpit of Twister 2-1, Chief Warrant Officer 3 Stu Weeks, was one of America's best, the gold standard of helicopter pilots for sure. All the same, flying nap of the earth at 152 knots, only 100 feet above the frigid sea swell of the North Atlantic, at night, bordered between careless and reckless. As the killer egg, as the little birds were also nicknamed, dipped dangerously close to the waves before climbing, Kolt wished he'd been more aggressive in scoring a spot on one of the 47s. Being in one of those big-ass birds was like riding in an M1 Abrams compared to this little toy. Kolt began to regret pushing to get clearance for operations from the doctors. Only a few months before, he'd been a human guinea pig as they dosed him with experimental antibiotics along with hematopoietic stem cell transplantation at Raleigh Duke Medical Center. Kolt had tried to follow all the medical jargon and finally gave up, hoping that whatever they were doing would save him from the radiation he'd received at the Yellow Creek nuclear power plant. Hawk. She was there for him through every procedure. Every fever-racked reaction to the drugs, every, "All stations, I send Sumter, Sumter." Shit, turn the switch, Kolt. Kolt shook his head, releasing the spell. He looked ahead over the choppy Atlantic Ocean. There, just visible above the ocean's flat horizon, were the soft yellow lights of the 76,000-pound Queen Mary II. Kolt looked down and saw they were already flying over her wake. The helo banked and lined up directly aft of the ship and their target, the Grill Terrace, a 5-star restaurant. Navy intelligence analysts had